one of the things that Gutech, which is the German university where I am right now, part of Oman Educational Services, we have just been approved to be the Building Technology and Standardization Center here. So it's with the ministry, it's approved, everything. So it will bring some standardization to the industry, and it'll come from the academic and the innovative side. They are inventing us to help them to create some benchmarking. We will have construction here. There's going to be a lot of movement. There's going to be a lot of stuff coming.
No, it's good to know that.
We have the 3D printer that's coming, the construction printer that will arrive I think in 1 or 2 days. So it will be the first 3D printed house building in Oman. But that's not just, and we're not just stopping there. That's just one step. The idea is to bring a standard to bring Oman into the 21st century when it comes to technology, construction practices. So I want to thank you very much, Mohammed, for your presentation. Very insightful. I think with the lighting, we started talking about lighting, and we talked about smart systems. I think we can all agree that, and I'm sure you probably heard speakers from this morning, that Oman has come a long way when it comes to whether it be 5G connectivity in Oman, whether it be the technologies by the industry leaders like yourselves that are brought at, the services that are here. Now we need to connect them all. And I think this is what Hadas had mentioned about the Internet of Things. The Internet of Things is great, but again, the connectivity is that how do you communicate? Earlier session we talked about your appliances or your TV remote, or one thing is updated or is on automatic updates. Your laptop's automatically updating, now it's not connecting to your TV or something like that. So there is a need for a language, a universal language when it comes to the information of things. I think every technology, every service provider, they have their systems, they bring it in. And that's one of the challenges I think the consumer faces. Cost comparison, low cost or affordability is one thing. But when you start adding adapters to it or systems to communicate with another system, then we have redundancy. So what we've done is that we've bought a car that operates one way, but we're putting an adapter in to make it do something else just to communicate. So these type of challenges, I think this is what the industry needs. This, I think all of us as stakeholders, whether it be on the academic side, the innovative side, the industry leaders, the regulators, they have to look at. So this Building Technology and Standardization Center will hopefully help the industry and help the public. But I do want to invite Sergio in one question I've had. When you talked about the lighting, I know that the human moods and the well-being, the wellness of the citizens of the smart city or the smart building is something that the light will help, of course. How far are we ahead with that? I know the Internet of Thing is one thing, but artificial intelligence, are we to a point where we walk in and they detect our mood and they can change our mood?
Quite interesting question. But before answer, allow me, Abbas, to just highlight something that I didn't mention during my presentation. Our system, and you are right, is connected what you said before of what we call it the open system. Our system actually is open. The Bluetooth technology, BLA interface is open. There are already in the market other systems. The big difference is that our system is open also to other manufacturers. What is important is that the other light fittings get the protocol of DALI, that is the digital address light information, that it basically need to communicate with our hardware interface, and then consequently with our software interface. So our system is already open, and we stressed on this because we want clearly go in a scenario where all the partners can use our system as well, but we don't want to close our system. So this is very in line with what you say. About the human-centric, yes, we have done several installations, mainly, I have to say, in Europe, and it's a reality. There are studies psychologically, I mean, they've been studied in North America, recently published by different commissions. They've been ourselves, again, with other manufacturers, just we participate to a study of the Copenhagen University, and we publish, and is available all the full report of our website, free to download, where it's been proven that in work environment, in study environment, this technology, yes, help a lot the human. The barrier that we can see is that there is still an element of cost perceived by the end user that is a break for the, let's say, standard application or common application to diffuse this technology. And in reality, if you go there to see in detail, there is no huge different price. But still the market, unfortunately, in the Middle East, we can see in specification, Mohammed was talking, I was talking about the process. We can see maybe in the specification that the lighting designer specified this kind of technology that is available, but then when we came to execution, for many reasons, maybe because the lighting always came to the end, for what is called the infamous process of value engineering, I would say, is one of the first things that is gone, and then we
No, that's, I agree with that. I think we all know that when it comes to technology, when we introduce it, it is the demand. You know, it's all dependent on demand, and we don't know how fast we can build it. If we use this example of the pandemic, I think you all agree that the online purchasing, the virtual meetings, all this has catapulted. I mean, look at what we're doing right now. We have a virtual meeting, and if we were to look back at 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I don't know if we would have had this impact or this acceptance level of having a virtual meeting at you know, with this type of caliber of speakers. It has changed a bit. Here, the smart technology, for example, that is coming in. We have cybersecurity. We had a previous session, we talked about cybersecurity. You mentioned the thing about data, you know, the security of data, transmission of data back and forth. So I think there's a lot of work to be done, and whether your technology is open, that is a great thing. But getting those codes, if there's an AI that reads the codes instead of having me come in or somebody, you know, I may not know how to do the code, so I have to get a technical expert to come in, and he connects this technology to this technology, where there's an interface, an AI interface that reads whatever technology that there is and connects it to the second technology. I think that's where we need to build up, because they're great. There's great products out there, and whether we get something that's from you know, from
if you allow me, just sorry to repeat, but our website is a big portal where a lot of storytelling. We've been involved in a project called the Scrovegni chapter in Padua that recently has been also been under the UNESCO patronage, and is Giotto work. Is one of the first real application of the to know what and collection of data, where then AI, because exactly we are collecting data and then adapt the quantity of light and the quality of light inside the chapter based on either the number of the visitors and either the number of the day of the year. So it's quite interesting if somebody wanted to go in deep, to go on the website and read all the storytelling of the project. It's still a work in progress, but yes, you're right. Technology is there. Technology is there.
No, it's great. I think, as I said, in German University, I mentioned this earlier, is that German University, we just started in the computer engineering, the computer sciences department, we started the AI courses for Omani students. So it's coming. And cybersecurity is a new program. AI is a new program. Artificial intelligence, very well received. So it is coming. I think the Omani youth have to have it. The future is bright. I want to move to a question to Hussain. And regarding, I was interested in the way that they adapt the natural lighting. The intelligence is they sense the natural light and adjust the lighting. And this is, it's machine learning, it's artificial intelligence, part. But you talked about two types of smart lighting. Can you give us a little bit more detail about that, Hussain?
Yeah, thank you for the question, Abbas. The first one was a system. We are speaking about a system, and when we speak about a system, we link it directly to a long-term usability, the smart lighting system. In this smart lighting system, basically, or currently in the current days, it is wired. And it is mostly installed in the construction phase of the project. So this is also maybe take a part of what Mohammed have said. So we need to design and we need to make sure everything is designed well and will be implemented in a good way. Otherwise, the cost later on the cost of change will go high. The second one, which is the light or smart light bulb, it is available everywhere now. You can go to any online shop, you can buy a lamp, you can just link it or scan the barcode on the back of the box, you get the application, and boom, it's online. So the negative part of this, it is on a short usability period. So you will use it for maybe 1 month, 2 months, 1 year, depends on the brand, on the quality, but later on, definitely you will change it to something else. And it will be very limited. You will have it in one spot of your home. You will not have it in a big project, a palace, big villa, whatever. So still we are now, until we come to a time that we will have all the devices IoT connected, all the communication, as you said, there is an issue still up to now. We are in 2021. There is an issue with the communication between different protocols and technologies. So hopefully by the emerge or the revolution of the IoT thing, when the systems are all open together, it will be more easier.
That brings me to Hager, because his presentation was a lot about IoT, and I think he knew that as soon as Hussain said information of things, that I would call on Hager. Hager, when it comes to the Internet of Things, if today we use an example that my refrigerator would place an order or would order eggs and have them delivered by drone because I run out of eggs, and I don't even know about it. It just knocks on the door and a drone's there to deliver. This is one example. We have the Internet of Things. We have, for example, traffic management. Everybody gets off at 5 p.m. So, there's Ubers or OK taxis or whatever. They come to your office, knowing that, these people are going off at this time. When it comes to a smart building, we're talking about workspaces, and we're talking not necessarily smart city. When it comes to the applications, how, with the connectivity that we have right now in Muscat, we've got pretty much, we were talking to Oman, an expert, saying we have about 75% coverage, 5G here in Muscat. So let's say we're in an area of 5G. How far are we from seeing this type of a mainstream services, or having a not necessarily the drones. I know that's a different topic, but how fast are we? How are we as ready to market ready services that the normal consumer can take?
See, area-wise, it is okay. If I take globally, okay, it's been implemented already in certain Western countries. Already, it is in place. It's all the items what you mentioned. It's already in place in developing countries. I mean, like compared to our area, but even in the Middle East also, yes. Now 5G is generally available in most of the Middle East. Okay, and come to UAE, yes, it is far better coverage and generally compared to other Middle East areas. And on considering the building services applications and the energy optimization, yes, it has been monitored and it has been controlled through different platforms, and the open protocol is available. But when you come to the residential application, as you said, monitoring the fridge or the public transport, yes, that is the residential application. Not that up to it's not been up to that level, but coming to the traffic analysis or even like the broadcasting of the messages, if a traffic congestion is happened or a traffic is some accident is happened maybe a few kilometers away from where we are, so there are now automatic signage system which is linked through the cloud system, so that you can see that okay, going towards north is congestion is there, and you can see the billboard with the display. So this is already is in place in Middle East countries as well. Okay, but residential application still it is still to go, but it's not far. But maybe I could say within 2-3 years.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear, because I can see that the technology is there, the communication is now arriving or has just arrived. The need or the want and the demand from the public to have a better quality of life is there. So I think that's progress that's going towards. And one thing I said earlier is that having a smart city or a smart building is not the destination. It's a journey, because by the time you build and you've got the smart building, you've got the smart city, there's new technologies that can constantly improve that quality of life, whether it be the work in the workspace or at home. So that is interesting. I think it's very important. I think with Mohammed, if I can ask you, when it comes to buildings, now we see a lot of construction. There's a lot of new construction, new development. We read about it, and tomorrow we have more speakers from the real estate sector. When you see the construction that's going on, do you see that there is an interest or a acceptable, or do you think enough buy-in from the public saying that we want to go smart, we want to be efficient, we want to be connected? How much of that is there? Whether when you're dealing with a person that's setting up a hypermarket, because these are big investors that are coming in, and they have electricity bills, they have they have to work on square footage or square meterage in retail. So everything matters. So how important is that? Or are they looking at the capex costs and that's it? So Mohammed.
To start with the building projects, actually there is some resistance. Sometimes I can say it is the resistance to the new smart solutions, and they will say no, this will not be the best way. It's better to go in the conventional way that we know and my grandfather know. So they will be hesitating to use newer technologies, especially when there is the financial impact about each type of decision. But I'd say for the big projects, and if we can talk about I don't know if I can mention certain project or not, but in the big projects, they are adopting the smarter solutions, and I'd say about 5% of the projects in Oman are adopting this smart way of
So it's a long way to go.
delivering projects.
We had a project I was working on. I was working on 2 projects simultaneously, and more in the commercial. One, the business model was that he was going to create commercial area, and the electricity bill was responsibility of the tenant. The other one was building it, and he was going to include it into his service fee. So of course, the one that built in the service fee wanted to make sure that his savings were more. So he was more inclined, and he was more interested in insulating the roof. He was more interested in doing solar panels. He was doing more tinted glass. Whereas the other one, he said, no, I'm not interested. Don't worry about the insulation, just do minimum. And that's where the regulation comes in. And I think that's where, as we said, the Building Technology and Standardization Center that we've created here, I think that will help as well. And I think the important thing is that we all have to remember that the future is smart cities. It's not just because we want to create a smart city. And as Sergio mentioned, I mean, there's around the world, or even Hadis mentioned as well, like they're in countries. There are some countries that only have one smart city, and the rest of the cities are the same. Because the layer of infrastructure over and over and over again, it's very hard to do it, and it looks like, you know, a mountain. So it is up to, I think it has to be driven by the public and by the industry. The industry has to be prepared to bring in affordable, quick solutions that can be implemented with ease, making sure that they are communicatable, just like Sergio mentioned, is that if you go on and you find out that this technology does communicate and it's easy to adapt to other technologies, then consumers are more confident and they don't have to worry about it. But to them, this is a foreign language. To owners, when you said earlier, it was very important, the loss of information. It's not just a loss of information, is that it's the lack of understanding. They are not architects. The owners are not architects. They're not engineers. They're not construction workers. So for you to say, you know, I can't do this pipe, I can't do a Y pipe here, or I can't do this, or I can't do this for this reason, they don't get it. And when you talk about technology, that this is required, it's difficult communicating with them. It is about educating. We have a big a big task in front of us. But I think it's with the team that we have. I was very impressed with all the speakers. Honestly, today has been a really good day. I'm not wrapping up on. I'd like to ask Sergio now for Oman. When you talk about the lighting, in lighting you have you can go into heating. You can go into different types of lighting, whether it be commercial, and from there it's cooling and everything else. How far of this technology has gone from residential and workspace to commercial? How far are we in connectivity?
Very interesting question. Let me tell you that as a company, we are present in Oman to our exclusive partner, Zubair Electric, since more than 35 years. So we've been involved in many projects. We see the developing of the country, mainly, infrastructure, but not only. The first smart installation that I can remember done in Oman and supervised and contributed has been definitely retail. Car showroom are clearly a top car showroom are the one that are driving. We start to see particularly attention in also high-end residential application. So, and what you say is super correct, Abbas. The educational part is fundamental. This is why company like us and our local partner all over the region are always willing to participate to this kind of initiative and events, because it's all part of education, to explain to the end user. We don't going to talk with, our little inner circle of similar people about what we're doing. No, this is a much more bigger audience. In the public, let's say, or big project, we saw it, there's been an interest, but this is again going to be linked what you said before, based on some rules and regulation. I believe that this should come from a major entity where some of this technology, in order of the energy saving, in order of either the well-being, need to be mandatory, based on particular requirement.
I'm going to ask, I'm going to continue this with Hussain, because his topic was to improve the energy efficiency. When we're talking about this technology that's here, it's available, it's not regulated. One of the things that we've talked, there are entities, and there's a committee that I'm part of, a majlis that I'm part of, that sustainable, and we want to conserve energy as well here in Oman. So, and we talk about regulation, and there is interest, there is the commitment from the government that they do want to do this. It is a constant involved. There's so many stakeholders that it's very hard to get everybody together and to make this happen. It doesn't happen overnight. It does take time, but it needs consistent and continual pushing. Hussain, if I may ask, when it comes to this energy efficiency, when it comes to, it's just simple as lighting. I think Khalis gave the example of lights being turned off at dawn, automatically. Things like this. The UAE has a rule that you need to have water. The water heaters should not be electric. We got so much solar sunlight. Why not have solar? So on commercial applications, they need it. How do you see I'm not going to say it's not just the government, it's the industry, it's the public. How do you see the buy-in right now when it comes to real serious sit down and say, we have to improve ourselves when it comes to energy efficiency? What percentage would you say that there's a buy-in from everybody? So you're muted. You're mute.
Yeah, sorry. So it's a very important question. I can start with some of the examples we have experienced in Qatar, for example. Let's start with the education, as you mentioned, and as Sergio stressed on this point. The education is vital in this area. So if we look back 10 years back, we will not see a lot of rules that we have now, governmental rules. Of course, the number one thing that can be applied on such applications, or which have a very fast effect, is to create a rule. Before the rule, you need to create this education. So when all these manufacturers created this education to the governmental bodies, to the consultants, they created this chain of knowledge between them. And from there, they started to discover, okay, we have a very high cost on energy, and so what can we do in this? So they started creating the specification of BMS, building management system, to bring the HVAC, for example, which is the highest energy cost, to bring the HVAC energy consumption down, and then reduce the cost. And it continues with the lighting. You cannot import, for example, 10 years back, you can import easily an incandescent light or a halogen light. So I will not go into technicalities, but now it's prohibited. You cannot import. So this goes with the customs. You created a rule. You cannot import this item with this HS code. And then later on, the government created a rule where you and the fine, of course, you will pay a fine if they find the lights of your home, the garden lights or the facade lights or a lot of things turned on at daytime. So this boomed, for example, the timer switches and the photocell control. So this is the cycle in brief.
Yeah. This actually leads into what you mentioned is the building management system. I'll ask Mohammed on this. How do you see the involvement? I know it cannot be. Regulation can only come when there's a demand. I mean, you can't regulate something if nobody's demanding it. Just because the technology is out there, you can control it, you can monitor it, you can have ethics to it, but to regulate it, you have to have a demand and you have to have benchmarks. When it comes to building management systems, is there a benchmark? Is there a control? Is there any regulation on the building management system where it says you have to have this much efficiency, or this is what you should do? This much wastage is allowed, this much is not.
Actually, currently, I can't see the very strict regulation about mandating this BMS or even what I talked about, the VIM. They are still in the stage of understanding, I'd say. Okay. In this stage, yeah. But and it's all about the intention of the client, who understands his expenses and who sometimes is careful about his footprint, eco footprint or whatever. So I think there is more time to understand this more and adopt it in a better way.
I think that's the key. I think what we all need is to learn more. We only know that we don't know, and what we know is nothing. So we are on the path. We are all learning. We all are going to learn more every day. I learned from the panelists. I've been in the industry for many years, but every single day we learn something new, and that's the journey. I would like to thank each and every one of you. Really, it was an insightful and interesting discussion. Thank you for your knowledge, your experience, your thoughts, your opinions, and certainly your expertise. I want to thank you on behalf of the organizers. I do want to mention, they asked me to mention this, please everybody make sure to visit the exhibition. And tomorrow we have a session on workspaces, and we also have a master class by CEDIA, Global Association for Home Technology Industry. So it's a very important day tomorrow as well. We, like today, it will be lined up with excellent speakers, industry experts, stakeholders that we all need to hear from, because only together can we really get to where we want to be. So I want to thank you very much. I want to thank the organizers. Again, I was honored to be the chairman of this conference today and tomorrow. It's an honor just being on the panel with every one of you. Thank you again for all your time. Have a very good night. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much to everybody. Thank you, Abbas.
Nice to meet you all.
A pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jamendo.com